In my past life, I persuaded my sister, who was born with cerebral palsy, to give up on trying to conceive. After all, her husband was also intellectually disabled, making it impossible to ensure the safety of the mother and the health of the child. Persuaded by me, my sister ultimately abandoned the idea of having children. However, I later saw online that another person with cerebral palsy had gone viral overnight for successfully giving birth. She pinned all the blame for her failure to become famous squarely on me. Late one night, she pried open my eyelid, aimed at my prefrontal cortex, and drove the sharpened wooden stake deep into my brain. "You said someone with cerebral palsy can't have children. Well, what about someone who's just plain stupid? They can, right?" From then on, my soul was trapped within my body, capable only of thought and feeling. In despair, I was violated by my brother-in-law and bore them a healthy son. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time when my sister had just begun trying to conceive. This time, I smiled and handed over the prepared folic acid. "Sis, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Get ready to welcome your little one." Everything suddenly became bright before my eyes. I turned to see myself supporting my sister, who was in the throes of uncontrollable nervous convulsions. A shudder ran through me. Uncontrollable. In my past life, my sister, believing the lies of an unscrupulous doctor, insisted on trying to conceive, ignoring all protests from my mother and me. She was convinced she could give birth to a healthy child. For the sake of my sister's and her potential child's health, I repeatedly tried to persuade her to give up the idea of having a baby. I even paid out of my own pocket to take her to various major hospitals for genetic testing. Thanks to my persistence, my sister finally abandoned her plans to try for a pregnancy. However, just a few months later, a person with cerebral palsy went viral online for successfully giving birth to a healthy child, even making a fortune through live streaming sales. My sister had gone mad, convinced that I was maliciously and deliberately trying to stop her. My mother drugged me, plunging me into a deep coma. In my dazed state, I saw my sister, who looked utterly deranged, like a demon. She took a sharpened wooden spike and, with a small stone hammer, drove it bit by bit into my frontal lobe. My mother stood by, meticulously wiping the blood I had spattered from my sister. My dazed brother-in-law, meanwhile, kept rubbing my exposed ankle with his palm. I was trapped in a desperate VR world. I could see, feel, and think, but I couldn't control my body in the slightest. My brother-in-law violated me countless times, while my family stood by and did nothing. Every time it was over, my sister would curse me with venom, calling me a shameless slut. Finally, a year later, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy for my sister's family. The whole family was overjoyed, only to turn around and sell me for a high price to the old bachelor in the village. Outside the door, a crowd of people were drinking and making merry. To my astonishment, I found I could barely control my body. With eyes brimming with tears, the heavens themselves took pity, granting me the right to escape this despair through death. I struggled to submerge myself in the shallow basin, drowning and suffocating to death. In this lifetime, a faint smile touched the corners of my mouth. "Sister, I will make sure your wish comes true." "Too?" Mother tentatively asked my elder sister. "Which hospital are these test results from? You and Xiao Wang are both sick, and I'm really quite worried." After saying that, her gaze drifted toward me, giving me a meaningful look. "What, does she think I'm an idiot?" Before my sister could even retort impatiently, I shouted at my mother in an emotional outburst. "Mom, just because my sister has cerebral palsy, does that mean she doesn't have the right to be a mother? The baby isn't even conceived yet, and you're already cursing your own grandchild." Mom was stunned and hurriedly looked at my sister's face. Hearing my words, my sister was absolutely delighted for a moment. She rolled her eyes at Mom. "After all those years of studying, I'm finally making a sensible decision for once. Don't worry about it. Mom, the doctor I found is absolutely top-notch." I rolled my eyes inwardly. Top-notch, my foot. He probably came from a flyer on a lamppost. "Mom, just relax. My sister knows what she's doing. If a reputable doctor says there's no hereditary risk, then we should let her have the baby. But, shouldn't we get a few more opinions from different hospitals, just to be sure?" Mother asked my sister cautiously. My sister flared up in anger. "I have cerebral palsy, but I'm not an idiot. What I do is smarter than anything you could come up with. You old hag, shut up." In her previous life, Mother had doted on my special sister since childhood, which only made her grow up to be even more domineering. My mother wisely fell silent, but she shot me a venomous glare as she turned away. I found it amusing. The farce was finally beginning. Another day, I delivered my special care package of folic acid to my sister. "Sis, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Get ready for your little bundle of joy." My sister was extremely pleased with my attentiveness. She immediately took out her folic acid and swallowed a pill. At least you have a conscience. After all the family's money spent on you, you finally know how to be grateful. I agreed outwardly, but inside, I was sneering. After I turned 14, my mother cut off my living expenses. I had to work part-time while studying, enduring years of hardship just to finish my education, yet she, living off our mother's pension all this time, went ahead and married that simple-minded brother-in-law of ours against everyone's advice. This time, though, my mother had the sense to pull me aside into the kitchen for a talk. Your sister has had cerebral palsy since childhood, and she's so small and frail. How could she possibly have a child? In the end, neither the baby nor she would be healthy. You should take her to a proper hospital for a checkup another day. That doctor she's been in touch with is definitely shady. I agreed obediently, playing the part of the dutiful child perfectly. But then, during dinner, I deliberately asked my mother, "Mom, when you say a proper hospital, do you mean the one downtown? When should I take my sister for the appointment?" The atmosphere froze in an instant. My sister has been stubborn since childhood and never tolerated anyone challenging her ideas or judgments. Under the table, my mother tugged at my sleeve, desperately shooting me looks to tell me to shut up. My sister flew into a rage and flipped the table over. The room was in complete disarray, with our mother pleading desperately with my sister not to work herself into a rage and harm her health. I, meanwhile, stood off to the side with my arms crossed. Watching the drama unfold, I had a sharp, distinct feeling that someone's gaze was fixed intently on me. For, my brother-in-law didn't seem to mind missing dinner. Clearly, I was the more appealing prospect. With a casual crook of my finger, he followed me into the room. "You're so beautiful, little sister. I want to kiss you." Drooling, my brother-in-law lunged for me. I dodged just in time, pulled out a card, and handed it to my brother-in-law, saying in a mysterious tone, "Brother-in-law, I'm not that pretty. You haven't seen the girls in the building next to ours. Now they're real beauties." This was the old district, a gathering place for all sorts of scattered, fringe characters. In my past life, a few girls from the neighboring building who had AIDS engaged in sex work, leading to a widespread outbreak of the disease. During the police raid, they discovered that many of the people who had visited the place had fallen into the trap. My brother-in-law immediately stopped harassing me and stared with a foolish grin at the scantily clad woman on the card. "Brother-in-law, there's an address here. These girls are all waiting for you to go and have some fun with them." My brother-in-law nodded eagerly with a lecherous grin, his eyes glazed over in a lustful daze. In my past life, after I became feeble-minded, my sister caught him the very first time he violated me. My sister dragged me by the hair, pinned me to the ground and beat me. Then, with a calculating gleam in her eye, my mother decided I should bear a healthy child in her stead. Every forced encounter that followed felt like death by 1,000 cuts. "Sister, things are getting more and more interesting." I gave a cold laugh, packed my things, and left. 5. I accepted the company's transfer order and left this place. In my past life, I flatly refused such a great opportunity because I was overly concerned about my sister. This time, I won't let a single opportunity slip away. I heard about my sister again, this time online. On the screen, she was taking folic acid, her neck twisted and her eyes askew. She struggled to form the words, "One in the morning, one at night, getting ready for my little baby." The bizarre video sparked massive controversy, with netizens flooding the comments with outrage. "I'm scared to die now. In case I get reincarnated into a family like that, who says China can't make horror films. If I see another one of these uncanny AI videos, I'll win the lottery." I burst out laughing, impressed by the netizens' wit, and the next second, my mom called, "What do we do? Everyone is slamming your sister for the video she posted. She's gone," and smashed up the house. The phone line crackled with the sound of my mother's pleading and my sister's wailing. I feigned concern. "How could this happen? They've gone too far, Mom. Tell sis to post the doctor's test results online to prove the condition isn't hereditary." The noise on the other end stopped, and my sister's voice came close to the receiver, whispering, "The thing is, it's not from a city hospital, it's a private one. What if they accuse me of forging it? So you did know deep down, yet you still blindly believed you were too clever to ever be fooled." I pretended not to know whether to laugh or cry. "Sis, just blur out everything. Only show the part with the all-clear conclusion. Blur it out completely. No one will be able to tell which hospital it is." Mom was still whispering, pleading, "Maybe we should just let it go." My sister shot Mom a furious glare, until her voice trailed off into silence. "Don't you tell me to blur it. You still haven't given Mom last month's allowance." In my past life, I had to hand over almost my entire monthly paycheck. "Sis, I'm really struggling." The company demoted me and transferred me out of town, and they keep delaying my salary. Sis, could you talk to mom for me, see if she can help me out a little, just to get by? Before I could even finish my sentence, the call was disconnected. I shrugged and pursed my lips, then looked down at the surreptitiously photographed test results. 6. Following the address on the report, I found the so-called hospital. At the very end of a gloomy alley, a crooked sign hung precariously. I caught a glimpse of my sister, dressed very conservatively, sneaking through the door. After making sure there were no cameras, I followed right behind her. Through the glass window, I saw my sister acting coy and putting on a show. Dr. Chen, I read online that the baby might inherit it from me. I'm so worried. Dr. Chen smiled suggestively, coaxing her in a low voice. I've already examined you thoroughly. Don't you trust your brother Chen, however? I've just introduced a more comprehensive screening package. For just 20,000, it screens for all hereditary diseases, guaranteeing your future child will be perfectly healthy. Her sister hesitated. The doctor feigned regret and took my sister's hand. It's alright, just do your best. Don't push yourself too hard. It pains me to see you struggle. My sister gritted her teeth. Alright. When the time comes and I've had the child, you must come and marry me. My mind was reeling. No wonder my sister only ever got herself checked all those times. The child isn't even her husband's. I finished recording with my phone and had no desire to keep watching that eyesore. On my way out, I casually pocketed a business card for a Dr. Chen from the hospital. 7. My sister posted her medical proof of non-hereditary disease online. As expected, public opinion began to shift. Everyone has the right to be a mother. They don't seem to be doing too badly financially. If they can afford to have a child, they can probably afford to raise one. I'm also living with an illness, but I support this woman. People like us, with special needs, can be mothers too. The two opposing viewpoints were locked in a fierce debate. My sister was even held up as a role model for certain groups. 4 months later, my mother sent me a text message. She's pregnant, must be about 3 or 4 months along. When I rushed home with a few rotten apples, my sister was lying in bed, wailing. She was only about 4'3" and weighed less than 60 pounds. I didn't need to think twice to know how much she must be suffering through this pregnancy. I don't want him anymore. It hurts so much, my sister sobbed, and my mother's heart ached as tears fell from her eyes. Sis, are you pregnant? I, however, cheered with delight, completely ignoring the two people with grim expressions. My mother gave me an angry shove. Is she really fit to be a mother? Look how miserable she is. I looked at my sister, but she averted her gaze. Great, the same old trick from last time, making me out to be the bad guy. I feigned surprise. Why wouldn't it be suitable? Sis is unwell, and it's normal to have strong pregnancy symptoms. Besides, I've seen the comments online. Sis is a trailblazer now. Many disabled women who want to become mothers really support her. She's a major influencer. Perhaps that mention of major influencer had tickled her vanity. She stopped complaining about the pain, instead boasting with smug satisfaction. I will not abort my child. I have to set an example and be a leader for others. I want to prove to everyone that anyone can be a mother. Her words grew more and more exaggerated, perhaps because she was exceptionally excited, realizing for the first time in her life that she had supporters. You know those most touching figures awards? If I could just end discrimination, maybe I could be one too. I slipped away quietly. 8. My sister's belly grew bigger and bigger. During the video call with my mother, I saw her profile, which looked like a swelling mountain. She was holding her phone, live streaming at that very moment. She was updating everyone on how she'd been. And the conversation actually had a surprisingly pleasant atmosphere. I stole a glance at the live stream. It turned out they were all people with disabilities, just like her. The whole scene felt like some kind of cult gathering. My mother had realized that talking to me about my sister would only make things worse between the two of them, so she stopped bringing it up altogether, focusing single-mindedly on hounding me for money instead. When are you going to send money home? Your sister's medical tests and treatments have already cost nearly 200,000, bit by bit. The family is completely broke. I said nothing and just sent the screenshot. You have taken out a loan of 100,000 from our company. Failure to repay on time will result in serious consequences. My honest, law-abiding mother was stunned and speechless when she saw it. Mom, I quit my job, and I got scammed again. The prepared excuse suddenly stuck in my throat. Behind their mother, the older sister ended the live stream. She rose to her feet, moving with the painful difficulty of a very old person. When she turned around, her stomach was covered in lacerations. The entire belly looked like a giant watermelon that had grown attached to the person's body. Paired with her extremely petite frame, it was as bizarre and unsettling as an alien creature. It was utterly terrifying. 9. After she realized I couldn't send any money, for the first time ever, my mother asked me to come home again. Sitting at the dinner table, I couldn't stop shivering. The reason was simple. My mother had tricked me into coming home for a blind date. It turns out Shonda is still the same old bachelor from my past life. He was leering at me with his big yellow teeth as he poured my drink. This is Mr. Lou. He lives near our village. He's a truly rare and good man. I steadied myself, took the cup, and raised it in a toast. Hello, Uncle Lou. My mom really didn't give up on me. Thank you, Auntie. Everyone was stunned. I was so moved that I pressed my lips together, as if trying hard to keep my emotions in check. I asked the old bachelor excitedly, Uncle, do you really have a way to help me clear that 400,000 loan? Upon hearing this, Mother let out a gasp, but it was only 100,000 last month. Realizing her outburst, she quickly covered her mouth. She hurriedly tried to explain herself to the old bachelor. Don't listen to a word of this kid's nonsense. The old bachelor looked at me. My face a picture of genuine sincerity and confusion. He shook off his mother's hand, his face dark as a thundercloud. Your whole family really takes me for a fool, don't you? He snorted in contempt and stormed out of the room. I had completely botched the blind date, and my mother called me a good-for-nothing in a rage. With my head bowed and tears streaming down my face, I said, Mom, I need your ID cards. The online loans are snowballing, getting bigger every single day. My mother shot me a terrified glance, then turned and fled as if escaping for her life. 10. Her popularity is soaring by the day. Soon, eagle-eyed netizens dug up clues from the heavily redacted genetic report. The barrage of comments exploded during her live stream. Seeing the malicious barrage of comments, she was so furious she was practically hyperventilating. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my baby. We had our genes checked before I even got pregnant. All I need now is an ultrasound. I don't need any other screenings. It would just be a waste of time. Yet, the barrage of comments showed her no mercy. Hopelessly illiterate. No one wants someone like you to be a mother. A catastrophic start in life. Born to a mother with cerebral palsy and a father with an intellectual disability, her sister's child, whose very existence oppressed and tormented her daily. After being exposed to excessive stimulation, his brain became momentarily overengorged with blood. His eyes rolled back, and he passed out completely. I had absolutely no desire to miss out on this kind of excitement. By the time I arrived at the hospital, the doctor was giving the mother and sister a stern, scolding lecture. The baby is so far along, and this is your first hospital visit. This ultrasound looks like a joke. This pregnancy cannot continue. The mother's frame is too small. The baby is draining her life to grow. Furthermore, even if you decide to proceed, the baby will require comprehensive screening. My sister has completely lost her mind, her eyes bloodshot and blazing with fury. What did you say? How dare you doubt a great mother like me? It seems that in the few months she's been online, she has utterly demonized and deified herself. She's now a leading figure within certain circles. Times have changed, and nothing can stand in her way. 11. After the doctor and her mother had left, I crept over quietly, my face a mask of indignation. What kind of quack was that doctor? He ran into me and told me to talk some sense into you. What does a man know? This is called a mother's love. My sister shot me a look of disdain. Even though I was no longer playing the role of a blood bag for the moment, she still thought I was useless. But my words clearly pleased her. What are you doing here? Did you finish paying off your loan? She used to be no match for me in every way. Now I'm bankrupt and she's a big-time influencer. That contrast makes her smug. Let's not dwell on that sad business. Once my sister's baby is born, we'll really show them up. Honestly, my sister gets criticized just for sharing her pregnancy vlogs, while foreign creators livestream their entire childbirth and get nothing but praise and views. Her eyes lit up with a sudden idea. Livestream the birth. She reached out and grabbed my arm firmly. My due date is almost here. You're not going anywhere. I need to talk to you. I thought I'd need to lay out a few more baits to reel her in. Who knew she'd be so gullible, chasing after clout like a dog after a bone, not even stopping to consider if it was poisoned. I stepped into the hallway, called to confirm my brother-in-law was home, and then casually reported the brothel. 12. My sister's water broke in the middle of the night. My mother shook me awake, frantic to hail a cab to the hospital. I set the destination for the private clinic where Dr. Chen practiced. Of course, this was specifically at my sister's request. When we arrived, my mother was stunned. I didn't give her time to process it, urging for the surgery to proceed immediately. I set up the tripod outside the delivery room window and started the live stream. My mother tried to stop me, but I just said it was what my sister wanted. And she reluctantly fell silent. Why are you starting the stream so late? Damn, are you giving birth or something? This is insane. The world has truly gone mad. For those thinking about ending it, maybe try living for one more day. The livestream's popularity skyrocketed, quickly landing at the top spot on the trending charts. Many people came specifically, drawn by the reputation, just to try their luck with the blind boxes. Oh, that poor child. I'm really worried about the baby's health. What terrible sins must that child have committed in a past life to be reborn into this family? I looked toward the operating room. It was an innocent life, but for the child, living would only mean a living hell. Just as the online discussion was heating up, a sharp, collective gasp came from the operating room. My pupils contracted as I looked through the glass window. I saw a boy missing his left arm, with a face of remarkable and peculiar features. He was completely still and unresponsive, even when the doctor tried patting his back. 13. Photos of the child were spreading like wildfire before my sister regained consciousness. Everyone condemned my sister for chasing clout with such morbid curiosity, demanding she be banned for life. The first thing my sister did upon waking up was to ask for the child. My mother and I stammered out the news that the child had been rushed to the city hospital for emergency treatment. She screamed in fury, refusing to believe her child was unhealthy. Are you all in on this together, trying to trick me? I had all the pre-pregnancy checkups, that was, until she saw the photos trending online. My sister clutched her chest, her heart palpitating, and shakily told me to go find Dr. Chen. I sighed and told my sister the cruel truth. Dr. Chen has resigned, and he's completely unreachable. Upon hearing this news, my sister's vision went black and she fainted. 14. My sister and the child were transferred to a hospital in the city. Only my weeping mother and I were left at home, while my brother-in-law lay listlessly in his room, as if having made up her mind. My mother said she was going out for a while. I watched her movements closely. Just as I expected, they confiscated all my communication devices, including my phone, and as a final touch on the way out, they secured the door from the outside with 3 separate locks. A bitter taste filled my heart. She's going to hurt me all over again, isn't she, sir? This is my youngest daughter I mentioned last time. She's in perfect health. Asking for 200,000 isn't unreasonable, is it? He returned with a few burly men in tow. The leader looked me up and down, clearly pleased. Deal, Mom, what's going on here? I stumbled backward in horror. My mother couldn't meet my eyes. Stealing her heart, she spoke to me. The only reason I had you was so you could take care of your sister. Don't blame me for being cruel. Your life was always meant to be dedicated to her. Deep down, I had always known, yet a sharp, intricate pain still pierced my heart. Nobody move. The police burst in, shouting at the stunned crowd. My mother looked at me in disbelief. When did you call the police? I'm not stupid. Ever since my rebirth, I've cherished my life above all else. I was covered from head to toe in emergency first aid gear, as my mother and those thugs were being taken away. I called out and stopped my mother. Mom, all these years, my life hasn't been any easier than my sister's. Tell me the truth. Am I really your child? Tears streamed down. My mother said nothing, silently led away by the police. I composed myself and quietly turned to look at the camera on the ceiling. 15. The surveillance footage caused a huge uproar. Everyone sympathized with my plight and condemned my biased mother. Not everyone is cut out to be a parent. They should require a competency test before letting people have children. My brother-in-law's health has been up and down lately. On his good days, he has nothing better to do than stare at me all day long. When he tried to get close to me yet again, I knew the moment had come. Brother-in-law, my sister misses you terribly, you know. Brother-in-law stood there, stunned. After all these years, there was still some feeling left. Brother-in-law started throwing a childish tantrum, demanding to see my sister. Wha? I want to see my wife. I want to hold my wife. A faint smile played on my lips. So today, I'm taking your brother-in-law to see your sister. Your sister hasn't been happy in almost 10 months. Brother-in-law, you've got to cheer her up. Okay. When my sister saw me, she started screaming and shouting hysterically. You venomous witch, you sent your own mother to prison, and now you're trying to ruin my reputation online. My sister's social media accounts have been banned across all platforms, and the online abuse has gotten so bad she's afraid to even step outside the hospital. I said with a smile, don't be upset, sis, I brought your husband. Now your family is finally together. I turned and closed the door firmly behind me, shutting out the stream of curses from inside. 16. I didn't leave right away. I checked into a hotel near the hospital, because the real show hadn't even started yet. My sister is a true business genius. After the money for the child's treatment and her postpartum recovery ran out, they started the live stream using the brother-in-law's account, with only their voice being heard. Despite the constant barrage of insults in the livestream, some people still bought into it and offered support because they were using the child's medical expenses as a hook. After all, the child was innocent. However, the livestream was frequently banned because the brother-in-law would occasionally drop a bombshell comment. It gave onlookers plenty of drama and spectacle to enjoy. One day, before the livestream had even ended, the police came and took my brother-in-law away. The charge was soliciting prostitution. My sister was completely stunned. What made it even more devastating was that the police weren't just there to arrest him. They also notified him to go for an HIV test. My sister, gritting her teeth, went and got tested as well. In the end, they both tested positive. Fortunately, the child has been formula-fed, and the sister only recently got infected, after being exposed by a passerby. Their humiliation was complete. Thank goodness the child is alright. When will this farce ever end? My sister was already frail, and the constant strain of live streaming left her with little proper rest. As soon as she contracted the illness, her body reacted swiftly. Her leg, which had only been twitching mildly and still allowed her to walk, began to convulse severely, leaving her completely unable to stand. She had to be pushed around in a wheelchair by her brother-in-law. It was truly pitiful. 17. When I saw my sister again, she was emaciated, nothing but skin and bones, but from the little signs, you could tell she was doing quite well. Little sister, how are you doing this time around? She raised an eyebrow in challenge, brimming with smug satisfaction. My heart trembled. So, she had come back too. The other day, when I first saw my poor nephew appear on her live stream, something immediately felt off to me. Even a vicious tiger wouldn't harm its own cub. In the past, no matter how much my sister streamed, she would never bring her child into the public eye to be ridiculed. Now, this sister, who never experienced the 9 months of pregnancy or the shattering of hope upon rebirth, naturally sees the child as nothing more than a tool for clout, showing not an ounce of tenderness. She even shoves the child's imperfections right up on the screen, all while crying about how hard her own life is. I looked down at my sister with a sincere smile. Sis, I didn't stop you this time. You can't pin this one on me. My sister's knuckles turned white as she gripped the wheelchair. She glared at me and spoke venomously. I have a lot of money now, more than you could ever hope to have. Some people really don't get it, even after 2 lifetimes. How can they still be so foolish? The internet can give you money, but it can also take it back. The penalty fees are no joke. A warm smile spread across my face. Why don't you check your phone, sis? 18. A few days ago, upon learning of my sister's change in behavior, I contacted a doctor immediately. After hearing from the doctor about her recent strange actions, a suspicion began to form in my mind. Using my family connections, I managed to get hold of the medical expense records. Sure enough, the medical expenses for the child stopped abruptly in recent days, while the costs for my sister skyrocketed. After gathering all the evidence, I happened to see that message on my phone. Let's meet and talk, my dear sister. I only went to the meeting after setting the message to send automatically. A bad feeling washed over my sister, and she pulled out her phone to check. The evidence I compiled was trending at number 1. Meanwhile, her account backend was flooded with a stream of messages and missed calls from third parties. Her neck flushed crimson, and her eyes seemed to blaze with fury. She was so agitated that her words came out in broken, disjointed fragments. You venomous witch, you, drop dead. The brother-in-law, who had been pushing the wheelchair as stiffly as a block of wood, suddenly sprang to life as if receiving a command and drew a knife from his hand. They even smeared blood on it for effect. My pupils contracted. So, even if I didn't expose them, they never intended for me to leave here in one piece today. We only wanted to make you feel the same despair as us, watching your own body waste away. It seems it's better to just kill you and be done with it. My brother-in-law charged at me with a knife, and I barely managed to dodge. I hit the panic button. But it was too late. This place is in the middle of nowhere. Did I underestimate the threat again? I thought bitterly. 19. Just as the knife was about to stab me, someone delivered a perfect flying kick, sending my brother-in-law sprawling to the ground. Police officers streamed into the room. Seeing how the situation had turned, my sister loudly switched sides. Comrades, you're finally here. Please take away the person who tried to kill my sister. I silently raised the voice recorder I had kept in my pocket the whole time. My sister fell silent, glaring at me with a twisted, almost grotesque expression. From the very beginning of this ordeal, I had been meticulously gathering evidence against my sister, proof that she had been referring fellow disabled individuals to Dr. Chen, who lacked a valid medical license. As luck would have it, the arrest was carried out today. I managed to escape by the skin of my teeth. This is because I'm also being charged with incitement to murder and attempted murder, among other offenses. They were utterly defeated in court. Dr. Chen then started screaming at me like a madman. Right from the start, you used my past to blackmail me. You made me swindle 200,000 out of your sister, give it all to you, and only then would you let me off the hook. I shrugged innocently. That statement had been investigated over and over. Not a single lead was found. Over all these years, I've sacrificed far too much. It's only right to take it back. My sister looked at me in disbelief upon hearing that. How could you be so cruel? That was my 200,000. Sis, why are we splitting hairs over what's yours and mine? We're family. I've never been in contact with Dr. Chen. Don't wrong an innocent man. Both my brother-in-law and my sister were given life sentences. I doubt they'll ever walk out of prison alive. After watching them being taken away in despair, that was the last time I ever saw them. 20. Before leaving the city, I did one last thing. I buried that poor child. For a time, I thought the child would never be born, so I neglected that poor little life. During the days he was used for publicity, the child received no treatment. He quickly became critically ill. By the time I rushed over after handling my affairs, the child was fading fast. I made the decision to withdraw his treatment. A venerable monk was summoned to perform the last rites. He was laid to rest with his own hands on a hillside blooming with flowers. If there is a next life, may you be blessed with a healthy body, just parents, and loving siblings, no longer bearing the cost of obsession, to live a life of happiness and joy. Story 2. The moment I saw Li Jingyuan, my face immediately lost color. If it weren't for his warm breath on my neck, I wanted to escape. I didn't realize that my hair was trembling and I was extremely stiff. It was because I was a canary in my previous life. The forced memory was too deep, so after rebirth, I still couldn't get rid of Li Jingyuan's shadow, until the agent came in hurriedly. I suddenly came to my senses, struggled to push Li Jingyuan aside. Choo-choo, everyone outside is toasting to President Li. What are you doing hiding here? The agent Li Gu was looking at his phone. He talked non-stop. But he never thought that when he looked up, he saw Li Jingyuan on the side. Instantly, his face full of impatience turned into extremely flattering. His eyes kept turning between me who was panting and Li Jingyuan who was lying on the sofa beside him. Then he smiled knowingly. If you had said you would accompany Mr. Li earlier, I would have been keeping watch outside the door. Don't you think it's a pity for me to disturb Mr. Li? I hadn't heard such unabashed words for a long time, and I was stunned. I realized immediately that this agent was my original agent. In my previous life, he sold me to Li Jingyuan without hesitation and got investment. From then on, I have been entangled with Li Jingyuan all my life. I saw that the atmosphere was gone. Li Jingyuan stood up and loosened his tie. He showed his strong chest without any concern. He smiled at me. Let me get to know you again. I am Li Jingyuan. Although I was abrupt to Miss Chu in excitement just now, I sincerely invite Miss Chu to be my female companion. Seeing Li Jingyuan suddenly speaking such polite words like a human being, a huge sense of absurdity enveloped me. My experience in my previous life told me that Li Jingyuan would not be a human being in the future. I couldn't help but frown. And my subconscious resistance to fate returned to the starting point. In this new life, I don't want to be involved with Li Jingyuan again. Mr. Li can choose anyone as your female companion as long as he waves his hand. Why do you have to embarrass me? Seeing my face full of resistance, Brother Li on the side interrupted anxiously. Choo-choo, Mr. Li's female companion is absent today, and he finally chose you among all the female stars in the audience. How can you be so ungrateful? The benefits that are about to be obtained are about to be lost. Brother Li, who has always been good-tempered to me, a cash cow, can't help but blame me anxiously. But Li Jingyuan heard what Brother Li said. His eyes instantly became extremely sharp. He interrupted. Let Choo-choo choose by herself. Don't force her. He turned to me and smiled. Choo-choo, be my female companion. Okay. I looked at the scene in front of me, which gradually overlapped with my previous life. My body kept shaking. It was as if I had returned to this body because of the injury suffered by Li Jingyuan. The words of Li Jingyuan in my previous life rang in my ears again. Choo-choo, I never thought that you would deliberately abort your child because of jealousy of Lin Suqian. You are just a lowly canary. In my heart, you will never be as good as Lin Suqian. I raised my eyes and looked straight into Li Jingyuan's eyes with a firm tone, overlapping with the desperate cry before death in my previous life. I don't want to be your female companion. If I could, I would rather not have met you. The beginning of my bad fate with Li Jingyuan in my previous life, it was just because of his bet with Bai Yueguang. And I happened to be the one who looked most like Lin Suqian among the actresses present. At that time, for me, being Li Jingyuan's female companion was like soaring to the sky. I became a top-tier actress in the entertainment industry, and because of this, I often accompanied Li Jingyuan to various dinners. On the first day he selected me, he frowned at me. "If you haven't been famous, you are just a petty person. Don't even ask me to take you out. You are not presentable." I was so naive at that time, I just blindly believed what my agent Li said. Under his earnest teachings, I became self-aware of being a canary. He asked me to grow long hair, so I gave up my short hair that I had worn for more than 10 years. He asked me to wear long skirts, so I threw away all the shorts in my closet. He asked me not to laugh loudly, so I practiced smiling without showing my teeth in front of the mirror. I broke myself up for him bit by bit, but I didn't want to be able to put myself together again. His control was getting stronger and stronger, and because of Li's earnest teachings, I was afraid that Li Jingyuan would abandon me. I would have no way to make a living in the entertainment industry, and I couldn't even afford the money to treat my mother's illness, so after he asked me to learn dancing, even if I stayed up all night for rehearsal, the next day I would go to the dance studio in high spirits, until because of the uncoordinated limbs, after falling and getting bruised all over, I couldn't stand up anymore. I could only look at him with red eyes. I looked at him with full of apology. "I'm sorry, Li Jingyuan, I will practice dancing well. Please don't abandon me." "Okay." I thought I would be scolded by him. Unexpectedly, Li Jingyuan just handed me a bottle of water silently. He looked at me with complicated eyes and a little distressed. "As long as you behave, I will never abandon you." At that time, I just felt Li Jingyuan was looking at another person through me. Later I learned that his white moonlight had not yet become a dancer. Li Jingyuan was his only dance partner. I also begged for mercy from the strictum with red eyes. "But it doesn't matter, money is enough. I just want to earn enough money to find a suitable kidney source for my mother. What if I become a substitute again?" But at that time, I didn't know that all the gifts of fate had already been secretly marked with a price. When he mistook me for Bai Yuiguan because of the drug and pressed me tightly under him, when I suffered a night of pain because of him, and finally found out that I was still pregnant after trying every means, when his mother forced me to marry him after knowing that there was a grandson, I thought this was the highest limit I could bear. But I never thought that Lin Suqian divorced her ex-husband and returned home with a big belly. At the family dinner of the Li family, in public, I miscarried because I took a bite of egg custard. All the resentment rushed to me at once. Li's mother scolded me for not being a good mother. Li's father even blamed me for taking contraceptive pills indiscriminately, which made the fetus extremely weak. I collapsed in a pool of blood and couldn't move. I could only look at Li Jingyuan with a look of help. But I didn't expect that he just silently supported Lin Suqian, who was fainting from blood, silently avoided my sight. He also once devoted his heart and soul to this child. I think it's my fault, but who wouldn't blame me? I also resent Li Jingyuan for treating me like his moonlight after he became important. I also resent that I took birth control pills desperately and tried every contraceptive method, but I still got pregnant with this child. I could only marry Li Jingyuan and retire when my career was at its peak, but I could only explain that I didn't intentionally abort this child. There must be something wrong with the egg custard, but no one believed me. This has even become an excuse for Li Jingyuan to live with Lin Suqian. Whenever I couldn't stand it and mentioned divorce, Li Jingyuan just looked at me with a complicated expression. "You killed my child. How can you be so cool? I will be entangled with you for the rest of my life as retribution for you killing my child. It would make me more painful." Outside, he would only look at Lin Suqian affectionately. There was even news that he and Lin Suqian were a pair of star-crossed lovers. I was unwilling to divorce me. Everyone thought I would hate Li Jingyuan to death, but I didn't expect that I had only been entangled with him for 30 years. No one expected that I would be so extreme when I was 50. After sending away my only relative, I stood on a tall building and forced Li Jingyuan to sign the divorce agreement, and then jumped down. In the end, I was still free. "Miss Chu, don't rush to refuse. I will give you the 30 million here as long as you agree to be my female companion. I will even invest 100 million in your company later. Take your time to think about it, don't rush." In the face of my refusal, Li Jingyuan just took the phone and smiled and added my contact information. After he left, his agent Li Gu was sweating profusely. "Chu, isn't your mother suffering from uremia and waiting for money to treat her illness and save lives? You don't love money, and you don't care about your mother's life, but I beg you to care about me. How many movies can you make the company earn 100 million? And I just looked at Brotherly with silent eyes. I said to him calmly, "As long as I take the movie, you agree to let me take it, whether it's 30 million or 100 million, we'll see the result in a year." in the last life, the Lee Group only invested money, but I can become a big star who can carry a drama not just because of him. As long as I follow the vision of selecting movies in the previous life, it will not be wrong. As long as I don't deal with Lee Jingyuan in this life, I would rather work hard than be the canary again. But I didn't expect a phone call to interrupt my plan. The kidney source that my mother had been looking for in the previous life was found on the first day of my rebirth. As long as I can take out 30 million immediately, my mother can be saved. Lee Jingyuan, what are you doing? If Lee Jingyuan didn't play tricks on me, I wouldn't believe it. In my previous life, I waited for 30 years to find a suitable kidney source for my mother, when my mother was lying on the hospital bed. She held my hand and begged me to go find my father. I had no choice but to sign a letter of commitment to give up treatment. I personally sent away my only relative in the world. Now tell me, the first day of my rebirth, my mother has a kidney source, and it just happened to cost only 30 million. I should have been happy, but my first reaction was to cry loudly. Lee Jingyuan, Lee family, I can bear all the consequences. Why do you have to involve my mother? She wanted to live. But she was wiped out of life. But my thoughts turned around, and finally lowered my eyes. I dialed the number that Lee Jingyuan had left before and asked aloud. I heard Lee Jingyuan's low-pressure laughter from the other end of the phone. It's just a small favor, Miss Chu. Are you going to reject me now? I've already told you. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. These words are nightmares that accompany me all my life, in my previous life. I wanted to file for divorce countless times. After countless failures, Lee Jingyuan always said this meaningfully, until the end. After I forced him to sign the divorce agreement and jumped down, he hugged my broken body with red eyes. He trembled in my ear and said, Chu, you can't leave me, because I want to be bound to you for life. That was the last memory of my previous life, but it made me sweat now. I could only remain silent for a moment, take a deep breath and then reply, I agree. But I will only be your female companion for the dinner party, nothing else. You should know the bottom line. I know, Chu. Don't worry. How can I bear to touch you now? I will transfer the money to you first, but I will come to you to sign the contract tomorrow. Lee Jingyuan's voice was extremely gentle, and he hung up the phone politely after speaking. Abnormal. It was really abnormal. Everyone in the entertainment industry knows that Lee Jingyuan, the prince of the Beijing circle, has always been cold and tyrannical. Even when we first met in the previous life, his attitude towards me was also cold and mixed with disgust. How could he be so gentle and easy to talk to now? But now I am anxious to go to the hospital to visit my mother and pay the money for the operation. I can only suppress this doubt in my heart for the time being, but this finally made me alert. Since Lee Jingyuan's attitude has changed because of my rebirth, the road ahead is unknown. Is this the new female companion that Mr. Lee has found? At the banquet where the wine was flowing, I stood beside Lee Jingyuan and held his arm, smiling gently and appropriately. I watched my mother finish the operation with my own eyes. Finally, I signed a contract with Lee Jingyuan to be his female companion. Since I broke up with Lee Jingyuan in my previous life, I have never attended such an occasion again, so I looked very immature. On the contrary, it was a bit like the first time I attended such a banquet in my memory, and Lee Jingyuan faced the question of his partner. He raised the corner of his mouth and explained to him rarely, Ms. Chu, but I will never change the female companion I have waited for so hard. Ms. Lee has a good eye. If I were to hold Miss Chu as beautiful as her in my hands, I would have to hold her in my hands. As he said that, he stretched out his hand to show his goodwill to me. And I looked at Lee Jingyuan's partner with such respect. I just felt very strange. Even if I was married to Lee Jingyuan in my previous life, the friends around him have always looked down on me. They looked down on my background, but I was eager to get their approval. Sometimes they even teased Lee Jingyuan and Lin Suqian in front of me. I just laughed at it. But now, I no longer need others' approval. I will no longer be so humble to show my goodwill to them. I slowly stretched out my hand, shook it politely, and then quickly let go. Then I made an excuse to touch up my makeup. I quickly walked to the bathroom and washed my hands frantically. At the moment of shaking hands with the partner, I suddenly remembered. It was also this dinner in my previous life. It was also the first time I was Lee Jingyuan's female companion. He was talking to Lee Jingyuan at the time, without caring that I was next to him. He just looked at me contemptuously before leaving. Then he smiled at Lee Jingyuan and said, Boss Lee, when Lin Suqian comes back, you will be tired of playing with this little star. Remember to introduce her to me. Lee Jingyuan just smiled and cursed. It's a wishful thinking. If you can really get Lin Suqian back, pack this little star and put her in your bed immediately. Hearing this, the partner just approached Lee Jingyuan and smiled obscenely. That's why you are not well informed, Boss Lee. You don't know that Lin Suqian and her husband are not in harmony. Are you going to have news of divorce? Maybe I saw a different face of a person in his past and present lives at the banquet. I sat in the car on the way home. Things from my past life kept flashing in my mind, from a 20s with a group of friends, relatives around, and a popular career, to a 50-year-old lonely and penniless. I have seen all kinds of people in my previous life. Among them, the most hypocritical is Li's adopted daughter Lin Suqian. When the news of my marriage to Li Jingyuan came, she hurried back to China. She was even pregnant and signed the divorce agreement in China, but Li Jingyuan attached great importance to her return. Not only did he turn down the opportunity to accompany me for prenatal checkups, he also specially called his parents to welcome her. It was just because Lin Suqian was once Li Jingyuan's white moonlight. Back then, Li Jingyuan could even give up inheriting the Li family for her, but Lin Suqian refused because her parents couldn't accept it. She turned around and married a top dancer from abroad. All this was after I had a miscarriage. Lin Suqian said that her sister-in-law had just married into the Li family and that her sister couldn't hide it from her sister-in-law. She told me the truth in tears in front of my bed. She even showed me a video she took when she and Li Jingyuan were childhood sweethearts. The boy and girl in it were full of youth. They hugged and kissed unscrupulously on the playground. They watched a firework together in the heavy snow. It was from that time that I had the idea of divorce. But when Li Jingyuan found out, he just looked at me and said indifferently, "Then what? You are in a hurry to divorce just because our child died." Choo-choo, you are not. You deliberately aborted our child because you were jealous of Lin Suqian. In that case, don't blame me for doing something more excessive. At that time, I always thought, he dragged me to not divorce because he resented me for accidentally aborting the child. It was a punishment for me, but I didn't expect that they also did something to my mother in the previous life. They blocked my mother's kidney source and let her die. And this marriage full of misunderstandings is like a spider web. It entangled me so that I couldn't breathe, until, in the end, I exchanged my life for freedom. Are you going to get on the plane soon? I will pick you up early tomorrow morning. Have a safe journey. When you come back, my parents and I will welcome you. Maybe I have been immersed in my previous life, unconsciously. I gradually closed my eyes. Li Jingyuan was on the phone. I woke up as soon as I left. I realized the car had been parked for a long time. Are we there? Then I'll go back first. I'm going. I couldn't wait to pick up my things and get off the car. Unexpectedly, Li Jingyuan suddenly spoke. Choo-choo, you have a good sleep and go with me to meet someone tomorrow. I only heard the second half of the conversation in the car. I thought it would be to meet Li Jingyuan's partner. Unexpectedly, Lin Suqian, who would not come back until half a year, returned to China in advance. Who are you? At the airport, Lin Suqian threw herself into Li Jingyuan's arms as soon as she came out. Then she looked at me with a strange face, but Li Jingyuan touched her head very familiarly. This is Choo-choo, my current female companion. As for the future identity, I don't know. I stood aside and smiled. There is no other choice for the future identity except stranger. I don't want to suffer the pain of the last life again. When Lin Suqian heard Li Jingyuan's introduction, her face changed secretly. Suddenly she reached out and held Li Jingyuan's arm. She greeted me intimately. Your name is Choo-choo. Right, Jingyuan told me about yours, but I almost forgot. Hello, I'm Lin Suqian, the adopted daughter of the Li family. She stepped forward with her high heels. I subconsciously took a step back, but I never thought that Li Jingyuan would frown at her high heels. Suqian, why are you wearing high heels when you're pregnant? But Lin Suqian turned around with a puzzled look on her face. Jingyuan, what are you talking about? How come I didn't know I was pregnant? I looked up at Li Jingyuan instantly, my heart beating nonstop. Lin Suqian obviously didn't know she was pregnant, so how did Li Jingyuan know? Or, was Li Jingyuan also reborn? I thought I was just accompanying Li Jingyuan to pick someone up, but I didn't expect him to take me back to the Li family directly. The Li family is still the same as in the previous life. Even the watchdog at home looks down on people. Nanny Wang Ma watched Li Jingyuan's car drive in, waiting at the door early. The smile on her face became more exaggerated after seeing Li Jingyuan open the door for Lin Suqian, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Miss, you haven't been back for a long time. The master and his wife really miss you. Lin Suqian saw Wang Ma wanting to go up and take a closer look at her. A faint disdain flashed in her eyes. She quickly handed the bag in her hand to Wang Ma, and Wang Ma didn't feel it. She happily took Lin Suqian's bag and watched her walk out from behind. She asked with a smile, "Young master, who is this?" "She is Choo-choo, who came together to welcome Suqian." Wang Ma, remember to add an extra set of bowls and chopsticks. Li Jingyuan lightly avoided my identity, and Wang Ma's smile also dropped a little. She looked at me meaningfully and turned directly into the kitchen. For a while, the living room was extremely silent. Lin Suqian sat on the sofa holding Li Jingyuan's arm. She cried and said that she should have stayed at that time. Li Jingyuan looked at Lin Suqian with a doting look in his eyes. The atmosphere between the two was extremely warm. Lin Suqian glanced at me sitting alone beside him. There was a sense of pride in her eyes. I felt so bored that I simply got up and went to the bathroom to hide. I stood there to get some fresh air when I passed by the balcony. But I didn't expect that I would hear the conversation between Wang Ma and Lin Suqian at the corner on my way back. That woman surnamed Chu is such a bitch. I watched you and the young master grow up, but she got involved in your relationship. Wang Ma, I knew you were the best to me since I was a child, but you also know that my parents pay the most attention to their grandchildren. What if that bitch gets pregnant? Don't worry, miss, Wang Ma will definitely not let others take away your things. I will make sure she never has a child again. I covered my mouth and watched the video recorded on my phone. My pupils were so shocked that they dilated unconsciously. In my previous life, I came to the Li family because I married Li Jingyuan after I got pregnant. Although Wang Ma always looked down on me secretly, she didn't dare to show it, even in front of Li's father and mother. She had to respectfully please me and the child in my belly, so I never thought that the child in my previous life was caused by her. Even after I had a miscarriage, after the doctor said that I was completely infertile. She came to comfort me and said that I could live without a child. Now I think about it, her comforting smile at that time made me feel cold all over. She didn't come to comfort me, she came to confirm that I really lost my fertility. Good, Lin Suqian made way. In the previous life, Lin Suqian not only occupied Li Jingyuan firmly, in addition to showing affection in public in various public occasions, his son was also brought by Li Jingyuan to be trained as an heir. I am sure that Li Jingyuan cheated on Lin Suqian many times after my miscarriage, but I didn't leave a child before I died. I just heard that he was no longer fertile. I couldn't help but think about it. Until the welcoming banquet for Lin Suqian began, my thoughts were still drifting. Choo-choo. This fish is so delicious, why don't you eat it? If the fish I picked for you doesn't suit your taste, I'll ask Wang Ma to redo it. But after all, this is the fish that Mom picked for you personally. Do you have any objection to Mom if you don't eat it? I came to my senses and saw the fish tail on the plate. It was full of bone spurs, not to mention that there was no place to bite. If you don't know, you might think it was leftover garbage. And Li's mother was still sitting upright. She looked at me with a polite smile on her face. Miss Chu, is this fish not to your taste? It's okay, guests are welcome. Wang Ma, is there any extra fish in the kitchen? Bring it to Miss Chu. Extra fish. When the fish from the kitchen was served again, Li's mother smiled and added a fish tail for me. It was a hint that could not be more subtle. In the current situation, I just maintained a polite smile. Auntie, I'm full and don't need it. How can you be full if you haven't eaten anything yet? Seeing that I really stopped eating, Lin Suqian became anxious instead. She cried pitifully. I don't know what it was like before. Did my return ruin my sister's appetite? Why didn't you eat a single bite of food at my welcoming banquet? Did I offend my sister in some unknown place? While smiling, she also picked up a fish for me. Looking at the fish that was served later, I was almost sure that Wang's mother had put the drug in it, because it was specially made for me. And she knew that Li's mother would definitely use this to demonstrate to me if she asked her to stay. For a moment, there were clearly 5 people at the dinner table, but the 2 men were watching silently there, enjoying the privilege of being a man and not getting involved in a fight. The Li family has always been feudal and perverted. The family tradition is bad from the root. I just lowered my head and looked at the 2 fish tails on the plate that I couldn't tell apart, slowly waiting for the fish to bite. I appreciate Aunt Li's kindness, but I can't eat both fish tails, since eating either one would be a betrayal of Aunt Li's kindness. Just leave them both. Lin Suqian was completely anxious now, almost disregarding her manners. She quickly took a fish tail from my plate. Suqian, how can you be so rude? Li's mother saw this and scolded her harshly. But Lin Suqian just smiled and begged for mercy, and said coquettishly, Mom, I love to eat fish tails, and I'm very jealous that you gave both fish tails to Choo Choo. Then she took off the meat from the fish tails and ate them. Then she looked at me complacently. I know she has been staring at the fish without drugs. She did this just to dispel his suspicion. But he didn't know that I quietly moved the fish to another place. Seeing this, I also ate the good fish. When they were about to finish their meal, Lin Suqian covered her stomach with her hands, her face pale. Mom, my stomach hurts so much. Then Li's mother screamed. resounding throughout the restaurant. Suqian, why are you bleeding? Lin Suqian's child was not saved in the end. She lay in a pool of blood, wailing loudly that her lower abdomen hurt. Everyone surrounded her. Li Jingyuan was anxious and had already gone to the underground garage to drive. Li's mother hugged Lin Suqian. Her eyes full of heartache. My dear daughter, you didn't even know you were pregnant. How could you suddenly miscarry? And Li's father was even more anxious. Suqian, hold on. Dad will ask your brother to take you to the hospital. But I noticed Wang Ma hiding behind the pillar. Her eyes were red and she looked anxious. She wished she could empathize with Lin Suqian and use her own death to exchange for Lin Suqian's health. But because of her status and position, she could only hide in the dark and secretly watch. In fact, if you look closely, Lin Suqian's facial features are somewhat similar to Wang Ma's, but because Wang Ma usually lowers her head, so no one can remember what she looks like. I remembered that Lin Suqian was thrown on the hood of Li's father's car. There were no dashcams in that era, so naturally, it was impossible to find out who put it there. At that time, Li's mother had long wanted a daughter. But because she was injured by giving birth to Li Jingyuan, she could no longer have children, so Lin Suqian's sudden appearance, on the contrary, they were happy to accept it. I observed the reactions of everyone present indifferently. I secretly made a calculation in my mind, but she didn't give birth to a child. Lin Suqian glanced at me weakly, then she burst into tears at me. Chu, I have no grudge against you. Why do you want to hurt me? You poisoned the plate, right? Lin Suqian didn't dare to lead the matter to the fish, because it would expose Wang Ma. But what's so smart about leading the matter to the tableware? It's all just nonsense. But obviously someone believed it. I know you are a broom, but I should not let you attend the family dinner. I tell you that if Lin Suqian can't get better, you will never be able to enter my Li family's door for the rest of your life. Really, that's what I want. Outside the operating room, Li's father was silent and Li's mother burst into tears. Only Li Jingyuan looked at me with red eyes. Wang Ma knelt aside and tried to throw dirty water on me. Mr. and Mrs., you all know that I cook at home. The kitchen stove is always clean. How could I, a person with mysophobia, poison someone? The only possibility is, she raised her head and glanced at me secretly, and everything was self-explanatory. Mother Li pointed at me and cried bitterly. We kept you here for dinner because we treated you as a guest. What did you do to cause my daughter to miscarry? She became more and more excited, and even wanted to grab my clothes. Seeing this, Li Jingyuan hurriedly pulled me aside. He held my arms and stared at me. Lin Suqian, tell me, what did you do and what did you drug? She just ate a fishtail on your plate to avoid your embarrassment. Are you jealous of her? I laughed out loud when I heard this. I'm jealous of her, Li Jingyuan. Do you want to listen to what you are saying? Is there anything about her that I should be jealous of? Why should I do something to her for no reason? Silence in an instant. Even Li's mother's crying became much quieter. Because you love me, you are jealous of me being nice to her. Chu, admit it, you can't leave me. Pa, I still couldn't help it. I slapped Li Jingyuan hard. If you didn't use my mother's kidney to force me to sign a contract with you, how could I agree to be your female companion? As for I can't leave you, even I love you. I looked up and down at Li Jingyuan. His handsome face and the identity of the prince of the Beijing circle are indeed very eye-catching. But in my eyes, there is only full of rotten disgust. Li Jingyuan, you are too self-aware, aren't you? If I had a choice, I would like to stay away from you. Then I whispered a few words into his ear. My eyes full of coldness. I hated you to death in my last life. So how could I love you in this life? I looked at Li Jingyuan with shock and his pupils trembling. I smiled and left him. He turned around and walked away, but suddenly thought of something and said to Li's father beside him, Uncle, as the head of the family, you really have no ability to distinguish. I doubt whether your Li family is about to go bankrupt. Remember to call the police if there is anything. And don't put the blame on others if there is nothing. Li's father and mother were furious, pointing at me. They were so angry that they trembled and couldn't speak. In the previous life, Li's father was high and mighty and ordered Li's mother to come forward to settle the family affairs. He was innocent, like a fair and honest head of the family. In fact, his own interests override all emotions, all the actions of the Li family. In the end, he will make the final decision. So he was the least innocent one in my previous life. What's funny is the previous life, because the heir he recognized, Li Jingyuan, couldn't give birth to a child. He even ignored his advanced age and found many people on the pretext of continuing the family line. It's a pity that he didn't give birth to a second child before he died. Thinking of what Wang Ma and Lin Suqian had recorded before, I felt that the Li family would be in chaos sooner or later. When that happens, I just need to stand by and watch the show. I chuckled and finally let them go for the time being. I turned around and left this place of trouble. Before signing the contract, I read the agreement of Li Jingyuan. As long as I can pay back 30 million within a year, I can automatically terminate the contract. So I began to look for those scripts that must be popular according to my memory of my previous life. I have played them before, and now I can do it easily. By the way, I left Brother Li's small company and opened a studio by myself. I started signing artists and scripts. Only by becoming a capitalist can you have resources in your hands. In that case, 30 million a year is not a problem at all. But I didn't expect that while I was acting, I kept contacting various resources in the circle. But I found that Lin Suqian, I secretly took a dance variety show behind her dance troupe. I also wanted to become famous in one fell swoop. I was not too surprised by her behavior, after all, in my previous life. After I retired from the entertainment industry, it was Lin Suqian who took over my resources, but in my previous life, when she saw me enter the entertainment industry, she also started acting, but because she didn't have the talent for acting and the spirit of hard work, she chose to use a stand-in to complete the picture, and her stand-in is her current assistant. In the end, the person who can really be called my successor is her assistant Li Miao. At this moment, I looked at Li Miao, who was beaten and scolded by Lin Suqian in the ward. In the previous life, the third female was a stand-in for Lin Suqian for 10 years. In the end, she died in a wire accident, not to mention losing her life on the spot. Even before her death, her wish was to terminate the employment contract with Lin Suqian, to see her face in the play, because as a stand-in, all parts except her face can be exposed. Looking at her in the ward, she kept bowing her head to apologize to Lin Suqian. I decided to help her realize this wish, not because of a heart attack, but because she can bring me more benefits, and as an evenly matched opponent in the previous life, I respect her for not wanting him to die early at the age of 30. We were opponents in the previous life. In this life, we can be teammates. I pushed open the door and entered Lin Suqian's ward. It was a mess inside, with warm meals thrown all over the floor. The girl with square-framed glasses lowered her head. She squatted down and stuffed the food into her mouth. While vaguely saying sorry, seeing me come in, Lin Suqian put away her ferocious expression, sneered at me. Why are you here to laugh at me? You killed my child and now you want to come and hurt me. I tell you, I will never forgive you. As she said that, she rolled under the bed and instantly fell on the glass shards on the ground. I didn't know why Lin Suqian was acting this way. When I subconsciously moved forward to help, I was pushed to the wall by a strong force. Li Jingyuan quickly put down the case in his hand and hugged Lin Suqian tightly, yelling at me, "Chu-chu, I asked you to see Suqian. Why do you vent your anger on an innocent person?" Lin Suqian nestled in Li Jingyuan's arms, stretched out her hands full of glass fragments, and her eyes were red. "Jingyuan, my whole body hurts. I don't know where I offended Chu-chu, so that she regards me as a thorn in her side." One after another, frame me. I just watched them act quietly. Then I accidentally glanced at the medical records that Li Jingyuan had thrown on the ground. The condition on it was very familiar. In my previous life, I went to the hospital for checkups countless times. I also saw the same result countless times. It's just that the wheel of fate has finally come back to the culprit. I chuckled and took out the recorder prepared by my students. Lin Suqian, be more thoughtful next time you frame someone. It clearly played what Lin Suqian had just said. Then I turned around and said to Li Jingyuan, who was in deep thought, I didn't come here to apologize to Lin Suqian. I didn't do anything wrong. Chu-chu, when did you become like this? You didn't come here to apologize to Lin Suqian, but to add insult to injury. Li Jingyuan looked at me with disbelief in his eyes. It seemed that I had done something wrong by not apologizing here. But I didn't do anything wrong, that's right. I'm here to add insult to injury. If you have the guts, call the police. I came this time only because I heard that the third girl had signed a contract with Lin Suqian not long ago to be her personal assistant. Lin Suqian is not worth my trip, but the third girl is. Seeing that I was really unscrupulous, I even took out my cell phone. Lin Suqian cried while holding the blood-stained hand. Jingyuan, I feel dizzy and bleed a lot. Can you take me to see a doctor first? Li Jingyuan immediately panicked. Lin Suqian, who was picked up by a princess, ran out, and I looked at the little girl who had been silently cleaning up the mess. Pick up the iodine tincture placed aside, bandage her bloody hand. Why are you so nice to me? She looked at me with vigilance, as if she didn't believe I was a good person. And I just looked at her and chuckled. Of course, it's because I see your potential and I'm going to let you make money for me. Besides, don't you hate Lin Suqian? Don't you want to have a chance to shine? As soon as these words came out, the originally hesitant third girl immediately agreed. My small studio now has a formal artist. Plus, I just happened to be able to get all the popular scripts this year. I was even obsessed with work for a long time and forgot about Lee Jingyuan's existence. Not only did I pay back the 30 million owed to Lee Jingyuan in just half a year, my career has gone further than in my previous life. From a big actress in my previous life to a top actress today, not only me, but also the third girl signed by the studio has been steadily promoted. The night the money was transferred, it was the same day when I was murdered and miscarried in my previous life. In my previous life, I fell in a pool of blood, was accused by everyone, and was looked down upon by everyone. In this life, I ushered in my complete freedom. I was so surprised that I couldn't sleep. I finally closed my eyes in the middle of the night, but I was woken up by a phone call from my agent. Oh no, Lin Suqian just pointed out on the variety show that you are famous today because you sell your body. She also said that you are jealous of her and used tricks to get rid of his child. Now the whole internet is discussing this matter. I have received several messages from you that you want to terminate the endorsement contract, but we don't have the money to return it to them in our studio account. Choo-choo, are we finished? What are you finished? You should wait for my news, the career I worked hard for, the freedom I have not yet begun to experience. How can I let Lin Suqian's rumors destroy everything? It's really crying before seeing the coffin. I haven't thought about how to deal with the video in my hand. Now is the time. Click send, and then tag, I am innocent throughout the whole process of the matter. Tag the police uncle and report someone poisoning me with my real name. The whole internet exploded in an instant. Who is hurting whom in this gossip? Let me, a gossip eater, sort it out. Thanks for the invitation. I just sorted it out. So far, there is no evidence on Lin Suqian's side. She is just shouting recklessly. But Choo-choo has really smashed out the evidence here. You can't judge a person by his appearance. Who would have thought that Lin Suqian would start to fall apart just after she became popular in the dance program as a goddess? I really don't know what you like about Choo-choo, because Lin Suqian is beautiful, kind, professional, and good. Is it okay to believe in a beautiful woman? The comments below continued to add without waiting. A paparazzi had already blocked Lin Suqian, and Lin Suqian faced the camera. Her eyes were red and she was about to cry, and she was wearing a very thin white dress. Choo-choo, brother Jingyuan is very angry because you did so many wrong things and didn't admit it. I will forgive the harm you caused to me because of jealousy, but I just want an apology from you. Right, the evaluation reversed in an instant. The comments online were all scolding me for stealing men and being a mistress. I don't deserve to be a star at all, until, when Lin Suqian wanted to continue talking. She was summoned by the police in front of all the cameras. The whole network was in an uproar. Lee Jingyuan and Lee's father and mother rushed to the detention center as soon as possible. What's going on? Suqian said all the facts. Why don't you let us talk? In the adjustment room, Lee's mother hugged Lin Suqian and yelled at the police, and Lin Suqian just looked at Lee Jingyuan tremblingly. Lee Jingyuan, you have to believe me. I am innocent. I know Choo-choo has always disliked me and has always been jealous that I attracted your attention. But this is not my fault, because we really love each other, right? Lin Suqian was taken away by the police in front of everyone, and now she is completely panicked. She can say anything, but she didn't see Lee's mother's face change in front of her. Lee Jingyuan opened his mouth to speak. Before she was born, she was interrupted by the police. Father Lee on the side spoke hurriedly. Comrade, what did my daughter do to be arrested? Is there any misunderstanding? I followed the police and walked slowly into the room. I smiled at them. There is no misunderstanding. It's just a rumor. The evidence is solid. Choo-choo, you are indeed a jinx. You have started to bring bad luck to people here before you even enter the Lee family. What rumor? We are a family. What rumor can there be? At once, the voices of Wang Ma and Li Mu appeared at the same time. I realized that Wang Ma had been arrested. The whole adjustment room was silent in an instant. The police coughed and asked Lee Jingyuan, I need to wait for you to report the details in advance before I can tell you. But it's basically about your nanny abandoning the baby and poisoning you, and Choo-choo's rumor-mongering case is all about Wang and Lin. Just sign and go for the physical examination if you have no objection. The result is beyond doubt. No one expected that my mother Wang would be so cruel. There will be no new life in the entire Lee family from now on. How can there be no descendants so easily? Father Lee muttered to himself while looking at the examination form, while Mother Lee was even more direct. Mother Wang, you are also an old man in the family. Lin Suqian's wet nurse. How has our family ever done anything wrong to you that makes you so hateful? Tell me. Mother Lee tore at Mother Wang frantically. But Mother Wang said nothing and just asked the police anxiously, "Comrade, Lin Suqian is innocent. How could she be so good and spread rumors? Please, check it carefully. She can't go to jail. She is a star. What's the difference if you ruin her career? Then what's the difference if your biological daughter ruins others?" When the police said that, everyone present looked at the document in his hand. It was clearly written on it that Wang Ma and Lin Suqian were biological mother and daughter. In other words, the cuckoo took over the magpie's nest. The Li family raised someone else's child for more than 20 years, but in the end, their own family sterilized it. Fake. It's all fake. The first person who couldn't accept it was Lin Suqian. She stepped forward to grab the paternity test report, tore it into pieces and scattered it all over the sky, but everyone who should know knew it. Li's father's fingers moved tremblingly between Wang Ma and Lin Suqian, and Li's mother closed her eyes and fainted completely. Only Li Jingyuan's eyes were left looking at Lin Suqian. From the original tenderness, he wanted to cut her into pieces. "I said that we couldn't have children before, and our Li family was extinct. Lin Suqian, you and Wang Ma are really hiding it. I will sue you now, and let you stay in this dark prison forever and die of old age." Lin Suqian looked at Li Jingyuan in disbelief, with a face full of grievances. "Jingyuan, you said you would protect me, you said you would love me forever." Seeing that Li Jingyuan was still indifferent, his tears had no effect. Then he turned his words to me. "It's all because of you, the mistress. If it weren't for you, how could Li Jingyuan not love me? If I go to prison, I will drag you to be buried with me." He was about to tear me apart. Enough. Li Jingyuan forcibly pulled Lin Suqian away and pushed her to the ground. "Lin Suqian, don't mention love to me. I find it disgusting. From now on, you and I are just enemies." After saying that, she made a call and asked the Li group to send a lawyer quickly. Unexpectedly, Wang Ma saw that her daughter had completely lost her future. She looked at Li's father and laughed gloomily a few times, turned to the police. "Comrade, can I reduce my daughter's sentence if I help her make meritorious service? I want to report now that the Li group is evading taxes, and the evidence is hidden in the Li family's study." She laughed at the Li family. "My daughter is also your adopted daughter. Why don't you give all the money in the family to my daughter? If it weren't for you, would my daughter have to suffer in the entertainment industry? Now that my daughter's future is gone, we must die together." Wang Ma tightly protected Lin Suqian, like a lioness protecting her cubs. She stared at the Li family, wishing she could bite off a piece of meat. The Li group collapsed and the Li family went to prison. The Red Dancer first spread rumors and then went to jail. These two pieces of news were highly searched, and everyone was eating melons at the same time. Only I, looking at the romantic Li Jingyuan across the prison, smiled and handed over a card. It was a card that Li Jingyuan gave me when he asked me to be his female companion. "How much money is in it and can it be used? I don't know about this. After all, I want to stay away from him, so how can I look at the things he gave me? There is only 10 minutes of visiting time in total." Seeing that he didn't talk, I was too lazy to stay, but when I got up, I heard him say, "I heard that Lin Suqian next door went completely crazy and ran around when she saw my mother. What happened in the previous life? It's all my fault that I didn't know people well and believed Lin Suqian. So you suffered so much. Choo choo, you hate me." The third girl sent me a message on my phone. She said that the martial arts film she participated in won the Best Actress. The company stock soared again. My agent sent me a message that the organizer of the award ceremony for Best Actress tomorrow had already notified me that I had won the award. I listened to Li Jingyuan's words carelessly, and I just turned my head to look at him. "I don't hate him. Hate lasts longer than love, but you don't deserve it." I turned and left, but when I pushed the door, I heard the sound of crying inside. As for how much of the sincere regret was there, I don't know. Choo choo. As long as you agree to be my female companion, you can use all the resources around me. Okay. Ji-Ru and then adjusted her state. I went to see my mother who had recovered. I immediately flew to the capital to attend my belated award ceremony. Looking at the flashlights under the stage, I couldn't help but shed tears while holding the trophy. I cried with joy. In my previous life, I retired when I was at the peak of my popularity and missed this trophy. I was no longer qualified to win it. Now I raise it again. The haze of my previous life finally dissipated and I have my own new life.